A very good day, dear students. So, I am Shamudeep, your faculty for robotics, and let us proceed further in the coding part. That is the software part of Arduino, as we were doing till now. And let us proceed with this 14th session. Okay, and let us see what else do we have to learn in the coding section. Then, what I'll do, I'll definitely do one thing, the live programming part, that is how to code and what are the examples that we can set, that I will show you. Let us study the syntaxes, the functions, the more variables that we can study. Okay, and after that we will go for the live sessions. Okay, so again, a very warm welcome to my session, and let us begin. So here we are with the 14th session. Now see, uh, when we talk about the programming part, when we talk about how to code or how to write a program, how to write a code within the Arduino IDE, what we need to take care of are the variables. The most important part are the syntaxes, right? Okay, so basically if we provide the code, if we write the code with the wrong syntax, it doesn't mean anything, right? It really doesn't mean anything, because every language, for example, I'm speaking in English, right? So if while I am speaking in English, I use the word of any other language, for example Hindi, okay, for example any other language, then it's of no use, right? Okay, so syntaxes are very important. Whenever I'm speaking in English, I should say, yes, I am speaking in English. That means ki I am speaking in a particular language and I'm agreeing with that. So every language, whether it be a human language, human or real language, or a computer programming language, have its own syntaxes. So syntaxes are basically the most important part while writing a program in a specific programming language. That has to be kept in mind. Okay. Now there are other things, like there are some symbols, some rules and regulations for each and every language, and there comes functions. Okay. So in this session today, let us study about function a bit, and then let us move on to the next session. Okay. So let me show you fully here. Yes. Arduino functions. So the functions allow a programmer, that is me and you, to divide a specific code into various sections. What we can do, if we see a full-fledged Arduino code, see the examples that we are doing are primary examples, like our basic examples. Okay, so you must not think, or I know you don't think that everything ends there, right? That's just the beginning. Okay, so I have worked in programs which are like huge, like few hundreds of lines of code are there in Arduino only. I'm speaking. Okay. So what need to be done? There is a need for dividing or segregating the code in itself, okay, into different sections. All right. And each section performs a particular task, right? The functions are created to perform a task multiple times in a program. So what are we doing over here? We are creating some functions, right? So this function is basically what we refer to as a type of procedure, okay, that returns the area of the code from which it is called. Okay. For example, to repeat a task multiple times in code, we can use the same set of statements every time the task is performed. So of course, what we are doing is we are reducing our effort over here. Okay. In every code, there are functions, and similarly, C function, the function that works in C, it works in Arduino IDE also, and in every code basically it is there. Okay, so the same set of instructions, the same set of uh, lines in code, the same set of performances. Uh, so these instructions must not be repeated again and again and again. Okay, that is where the functions comes in handy. All right. See, advantages of using functions. Now, these things you can note it down from here, or else you can just learn from here. That would be enough. Okay. Like basically, since I'm teaching you from the basic, from the scratch, that's why I have designed this thing. Nobody's going to ask you about this, or if any preliminary thing is there, then only people can ask you, okay, as a question. All right. So what are the advantages of using functions? It increases the readability of the code. Okay, what do you mean by readability? The comprehensibility or understandability. It's easier to understand basically. Okay, it conceives and organizes the program. So it basically, again, the same thing is there in different form, that it basically helps you to understand the code better or in a simple language. It reduces the chances of errors wherever there are, since human beings are coding. Okay, so there are obviously chances for errors to happen. So basically what it does, it reduces the chances of errors, because the same set of operations, if you need to perform again and again, there can be some difference in them. That's how the errors take place. Okay, so functions basically reduce your error forming capability. It makes the program compact, of course, and small. So you see, if there is a code written of 200 lines, okay, so the code is 200 lines long. Now, while using function, or by using function, what we can do is we can reduce it maybe to 80 or 150 lines. Okay, let us assume 150 lines. So where are the 50 lines gone? More 50 lines gone. They are basically reduced in size by using functions. Like repetitive lines are not being used. Okay, it avoids the repetition of the set of statements or codes. That's what I was saying. Okay, in the previous lines also the same thing has been mentioned. The repetitive code, which will kill your time, which will kill your space, which will kill your memory of the system, which will kill the readability or the easiness or the understandability of the code. Okay, so these are the things. It allows us to divide a complex code or program into simpler one, of course. It's kind of gives us a syllable for the code, right? That's an analogy that you can understand with. Okay, so you can divide the code into various parts, and then you can understand the code better, or make people understand better in a better way. Okay, the modification becomes easier with the functions, help of functions in a program. Okay, so it's easier to modify because a set of lines, a set of instructions, a set of programs, they are basically turned down by a function. So by altering the function, by using the function in different ways, what we can do, we can make change or introduce or delete a section of the code. Okay. So that's about the advantages of function. Let us now see functions in Arduino basically. So the Arduino has two common functions, one setup and loop. So as you have seen the codes previously, you might have noticed two things, two most important things. One is the void setup, one is the void loop. So this thing has already been taught to you, that what is the function. If you don't remember, don't worry, I'll tell you again in a very short fashion so you can remember it. So As the name suggests, void setup. Okay, so what we do in void setup is basically set up the scenario that this will be the output pin, this will be the input pin. Okay. For example, if you want to work with the inbuilt LED, okay, the LED of the Arduino, you have to specify the pin number, okay, and what it should be, output, input, what it should be. All right. So digital pin is there, so it would be output definitely. And yeah, that is the function of void setup. Okay, so you have set it up right now. Okay, that pin mode, what will be your pin mode, and then you can write the program, then you can write the code inside the void loop. That means the section or the instructions that needs to run again and again, okay, one after one, that need to run, you can write it down in the void loop. Now what are the functions over here? And the functions are the setup and the loop, which are called automatically in by the background. Okay, when you open Arduino IDE, you would see these two things are automatically there, and some command lines are there. Okay, that's what the outlook of the Arduino IDE is. The code to be executed is written inside the curly braces within these functions. We all know the rule. Okay, the code must be and is written within the curly brackets or curly braces. Okay, which is within these two things. Okay, outside this, the code will not take place. Like, okay, all right. Then comes void setup. It includes the initial part of the code, which is executed only once. See, that's what I was talking about. So you have to just mention the pin mode and everything over there in the void setup. It is called as the preparation block. Of course, it is the preparation block. Okay, it sets up the arena for the code to work. Okay, then comes void loop. It includes the statements which are executed repeatedly. It is called the execution block. So first we have the setup, right, or preparation block. After we have prepared, now the Arduino, now the board or the microcontroller or the system is prepared to take in instructions. Then what comes the role of the void loop? There is the execution block. Okay, so this is about the most important functions in Arduino. Now, how to declare the function? Now, the method to declare a function is listed below. The function return type. We need a return type for a function. For example, we can store the return value of function in a variable. Now, what we can do is we can declare a variable first, and if the function is not returning a value, we can assign or declare the alphabetical value to the function type. Okay. Then we can use any data type as a return type, such as float, char, etc. Char means character. Okay. All right. This is our return type function. Now, function name. It consists of a name specified to the function. It represents the real body of the function. Okay. We know the names, right? Setup, then loop. These are the names of the function. What are the parameters? Important thing to remember, to learn. It includes the parameters passed to the function. The parameters are defined as the special variables which are used to pass data to a function. Okay. Now, when we are declaring a function or assigning a function, then we must like pass some data into it. Okay, that's what its purpose is. So the function must be followed by parenthesis and the semicolon. All right, I hope you have understood. The actual data passed to the function is termed as an argument. Okay, that is the value or the data that has been passed to the function, is known as argument. Now, this is an example, very important flow chart I've attached with here. So, can you see how the code structure is tend to be? See, it says int add numbers, int x, int y. Then within the parentheses, what we have done, int sum equal to x plus y, and return sum. So first you see int is the return type. Okay, if we want nothing to be returned, we can use the void function also. Okay, and then comes the name of function, that is the add numbers. So this function is basically called the add numbers, okay, that we have declared. So name of functions, then parameters passed to the functions. This is what the parameter means. Just now we have studied about the parameters. Then comes the curly braces, the whole code over there. Now you see return statements which matches declaration. Okay, this is how the function is being declared. Okay, the add numbers function is being declared. So here is an example. Okay, now we'll be adding two numbers. What we are doing is by using the function. See, so inside void setup, as we all know, serial begin is being declared as 9600. Okay, now one void loop, what we are doing, initializing of values to the variables a and b. You see int a we have taken as 5, int b we have taken as 4. So 5 and 4 we have taken a and b as the numbers, and we have also declared in c, but we haven't given int c any number. Why? Because what our intention is to assign c to my add function ab. That means c will now contain the value of the addition, that is 5 plus 4, that is a plus b, that is 5 plus 4, that is 9. Okay, now cdn print.println c to print the result value in a new line and delay 1000. Okay, now after closing the bracket, it says int my add function, int I, int j. Okay, so that's one function that we have declared, and two parameters, int I, int j. Now int sum equal to I plus j, and return sum. So again, the same thing will happen. Understood? Now, from the next time, if I call the function, the whole operation will take place. Here, what we have done, here we will create a function that determines if a number is even or odd. Okay, how? How? Let us see. Int a equal to 0. Okay, we have declared, assigned. Int b we have taken, and void inside void setup again serial dot begin equal 9600. Okay, then in void loop, what we are doing, b, we are assigning b equal to even function a. Okay, so we can store the function return value in variable b. That is why and that is how we have assigned it. Serial dot print a, then serial dot print to separate even or odd text. Now comes the condition, dear students. So what are the conditions in the if else statement? That is my favorite statements over here, because the more you learn to code, the more you learn programming, you will see that comparing things using if and else is the most handy thing over here. Okay, most interesting thing also. So if b equal to 1, that means b equal to 1 means we are assigning the value not as a character but as a number to b. Okay, so now b is 1. Serial.println number is even, else serial.printable number is odd. Okay, now we've given a plus plus and delay 1000 for the function will increment and will again run. Since we have given a plus plus, so a will increase once. A plus plus means a plus 1. Okay, so the number will increase by 1 and again it will run in the same loop. Okay, int even function, int d, that is within the brackets, if d percentage 2 equal to 0, it's written. That means if d divided by 2, okay, if by 2 we get the remainder, if we say percentage, what we are doing is we are taking the remainder. So if remainder would be 0, then return 1. Okay, that is it is even. Okay, else return 0, that is it is odd. That's how the condition works. I hope you have understood the whole code. Okay, this part is very important. Okay, this is a very basic part that we're doing. We are seeing the remainder. If it is 0, that means it's divided by 2. Okay, or even. Fine. Let us move further. See, this is how the code runs. In the serial monitor, you would be able to see this. This is how it runs. Okay. Understood? Number is even, number is odd, number is even, number is odd. Because what we have done is we have assigned an increment to the whole number. So the number starting from 0, it will increase by 1. The plus plus signs means plus 1. Okay, so it will go on, keep on increasing and increasing, and it will keep go on in showing the values. That is how this code works. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed the session and you have learned from it. So that would be it for this session for functions. Okay, we will meet again in the next session, of course, that is session 15. All right, thank you for being so patient. Thank you, everybody.